graduates to, have a chat and get some perspective around their experience. Naturally, we normally do it in a live format where she will scrutinize you face to face. But now, owing to the COVID-19 and the challenges that we are facing now, I think
Yeah.
that is why we are doing it electronically. So it's good to
Okay.
have you around this afternoon, Dr. Dorcas Otto. And I think
Thank you very much, Prof.
I will leave both of you to enjoy the section while
Okay.
I switch off my camera. Then both of you can chat. Leave your camera and have your chats. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Prof.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Hi,
Thank you,
hello,
Prof.
doc.
I will be
Hello,
back
Dr.
later.
Thank you, Zarreen. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you for taking the time to speak to us today and to speak to me today. I really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So to begin, can you tell us a bit about yourself, just your interests, your hobbies?
I will start. You already know my name. I am Dorcas Otto. I love to read. I love to travel. I have interest to study, to know more, especially when I travel to places. I want to know more about the place. I I would like to say that I came across the department and was interested in the name, and that spurred me on. So that was what actually brought about my interest, and I am grateful that my interest was sustained.
Okay, all right. Um, okay, so the next question I have for you is, how do you feel having graduated with your doctorate, and what does this mean for you and those
Hmm.
around you?
Hmm. Well, it means a lot to me. It's quite exciting, very, very interesting in the sense that, I also work in an academic environment, and the desire to actually get a higher degree beyond my master's, that motivation had been with me all this while. And more so, I had my first and second degrees in Nigeria. I longed to, have an experience outside the shores of Nigeria. And the experience I had at UJ, when I reflect on it, I keep, you know, having a lot of feeling of joy that I was able to come to UJ and have that experience. And for my family, it's also great because in as much as they missed my presence when I had to travel down to South Africa for my studies, and when I come back, I still have some work to do. Now that the program is over and I have my doctorate, everyone is excited. They're very happy. In fact, yesterday, I had a full house. Family members and friends were all there.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Um, okay, the next question I have for you is regarding the topic that you chose for your PhD. A leadership framework for consistency of decision making in disciplinary procedures at a Nigerian university. So, what
Yes.
I would like to know is what inspired you to choose this topic and what have you learned from it?
Thank you very much. To start with, when I had encounter with the department and the various areas of interest were shown to me, I got interested in the issue of consistency in disciplinary decision making because I know that discipline is, is a matter that is of interest to managers and in any workplace, to be able to check excesses of workers, to instill some order and all that. And besides that, I also know that in our environment, and you find out that a lot of people tend to have this perception that there is inconsistency in the process or in the substantive issues on how they were handled by the leaders. And that made me to, show interest, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of litigation from persons who have perceived that they have not been, their matters have been treated inconsistently, and they go up to the law courts. And that means a lot of resources are wasted, not just resources. There is the emotional trauma on the employees and the system as well. A lot of resources are really involved. And so I felt that it was going to be a good thing to research into this area, to know if actually the perception of the employees can be really ascertained. And not only that, also to examine the perception of the staff to confirm if their perception affects their morale and also their productivity. So these were the motivations for the study, and to also know if there is a leadership structure in place that can really help in mitigating the effects of inconsistency in disciplinary decision making.
That is very interesting. That's very interesting. Along those lines of what you were saying, what are the obstacles do you feel you faced while you were journeying through the process of obtaining your PhD?
The obstacles were there, particularly as it had to do with the online registration. Even at the point of my application, I encountered some challenges, which of course I made known to the international office, and eventually it was to have been an online registration, but I at some point was allowed to do some paper application, and I got through eventually. Thereafter, I had challenge in processing my visa. So in the process, I missed out a few of the January study school, but eventually I got through and came over. Then the visa that was given at some point expired. So after the expiration, I needed to renew the visa. And that was a huge challenge, because at this time, there were new policies that had come to place. And eventually, I was unable to renew my visa because I needed a police report from South Africa, in addition to the police report I obtained here in Nigeria. And so that meant that I couldn't register for that particular semester. And it affected me in a way, because I thought it was going to be something I could get and make progress with the program. But thereafter, I didn't have much issues again. On one occasion, I think I was battling with my chapter 4 in particular. And it happened that I wasn't really getting through as much. And of course, my study leader, my supervisor, Professor Pere, had to tell me outrightly. In fact, that chapter was rejected at my first attempt, and he put me through. I mean, in fact, Prof drilled me. Prof literally drilled me. And at the end of the day, I came back and also overcame that hurdle. So it was quite an experience.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because my next question is, how was your experience working with Professor Pere as your supervisor?
Working with Professor Wilfred Pere as my supervisor is, I think, is something that I would like to recall all the time because he was a real source of inspiration. He motivated me so much. He directed me to useful materials that I needed to read. In fact, as we speak, I still have some materials that he referred me to that from time to time I still go through, you know. And then at some point, he really made me to understand that these challenges, experiences during the research journey or the research process is something that is common, but that with some effort put in and perseverance, as well as working hard, as hard work, that one will get there. He introduced, I can't make out her name right now, Teron, to encourage me. On one occasion, when Prof, as usual, once he opens his system, we'll be going through the work page by page, and then where he feels that you haven't got it right, of course, he will draw your attention to it. And not only is he drawing attention to where you didn't get right, he will also guide you to the relevant documents or concepts that can help you. I really learned a lot from Prof. I learned so much from Prof. I did. Prof was Prof was such a person that even if you didn't want to get to the point, he will make you to get there. You know what? He will call you from time to time. He say, "How about this?" And then, of course, he would like to hear you to know what you have done, the revisions he has asked you to make, and all that. And he will end up with one very fine phrase. He will say, "Keep up the good work."
And sometimes that's all you need to hear.
Sorry?
Sometimes that's all you need to hear. Keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work, yes. And no matter how you have presented your document, he looks at it, he will make his comments, and after all, he will also hear from you and then encourage you. Sometimes he will tell you, some of the chapters, you will go about 2-3 times. Even on the third revision, you will think that you are, almost there. But Prof will still come up with something. I said, you've not addressed these other aspects. And then, you'll be encouraged to do that. So he kept one on one stool almost all the time. Once I know that I have to meet with Prof for face-to-face interaction, I know that day, as much as possible, I was going to get a lot more information that will guide me on my work. Because he will take you through the aspects that he knows that you should be able to go and research on, and give you materials to read, give you, okay, before you come to see me, make sure you have read from pages this to this on Sonia Bendix. That's Prof for you.
So he prepares you for your meetings at least.
Yes, he does that.
It sounds like you had a very good journey with Professor Pere.
Yes, I did.
I'm glad to hear that. And lastly, do you have any advice for anyone out there who is aspiring towards their PhD?
Yes, I was encouraged by others, not just my study leader, but other colleagues in the program. So I would like to encourage others who wish to take up a PhD program that they should remain focused. They should actually see it as a journey. As the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. That as you take that one step, you should continue progressively. You will get to the finishing line. And in addition, I would like to say that in as much as there could be times that there will be that feeling to drop the work, at that moment, you could still temporarily just leave it. And in no time, try to tune your mind back to it, pick up from where you stopped, and you will see that, with new zeal, and it's like, I've left this work for some time. I was tired, but now I'm picking it up. I want to make progress with it. And with that, you will just get going. And before you know it, after finishing a particular chapter, you will feel
Okay, sorry about that. The video froze for a little bit on my end. But
okay.
Dr. Dorcas, thank you so much for your time and congratulations on obtaining your PhD. I'm sure you are very proud of yourself and that all your friends and your family are just as proud of you, as well as Professor Wilfredo Pere. And I wish you everything of the best on your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Zarreen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dorcas, once again.
Thank you, Prof.
And also thank you very much, Zarreen, for always doing a wonderful job, and I wish you all the best, Dorcas.
Thank you, Prof.
Zarreen, Dorcas is the current registrar of the University of Port Harcourt.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, she's the current registrar of the University of Port Harcourt. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much
in your future.
Thank you very much, Prof.
I always tell you that you have one more goal.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity you gave to me to really study under you, learning so much, Prof.
Thanks a lot.
I talk about you every now and then. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay.